A quick and simple peach crisp is a great way to enjoy peaches when they're in season. It's a beautiful streusel topping. It's fresh peaches. Look how good it looks. You couldn't want anything more, so that's what I'm gonna lead you through so we can make this together and then you can make one on your own. Let's go. A crisp is the best way to enjoy fruit. I think I say that every time I do a crisp video. And while you might think, crisp are relegated for apples in the fall. It's not fall, no, it's peach season, and they're perfect for peaches because a crisp goes together really quickly. You don't have to make a pie, you don't have to make a pie shell. All you have to do is have beautiful, ripe peaches. These are picked right off the tree. Yeah, I know, it's a beautiful peach year here, by the way. So when you look at this, look how ripe and perfect that peach. You would think it's a fake peach. It's not. What I am doing though is removing the skin. Now what you can do, when they're really ripe, they kind of pull off. If they don't, just slide a knife right under them. The one thing I do want to say, if you want to make it really simple, really quick, you can make an X in the bottom of your peach and you can put them in boiling water for like 30 seconds. That just kind of slightly cooks that peel and it just slips right off. When I'm doing something like a crisp, I don't find it worth it. Now, if I'm going to be canning though, a whole batch of canned peaches and want to do a whole bunch of them at once, then I will do that. So as you can see, different types of peaches, because I'm getting these from multiple trees. I have a few different trees in there, and you can see they have different colors and sizes. That's normal. You're gonna have different sizes, even maybe different colors. You know, there's a Red Haven peach. Those are gonna be red sometimes inside. But that doesn't matter here. What matters is a good ripe peach, because a ripe peach is gonna have more sugar content. Anytime a fruit ripens, what does it get? It gets that sugary goodness. So this is my last peach I need to do, and I'm just making sure it comes off the pit nicely, which you can see, it just slides right off. Peaches, you don't need to do anything to them, do you? You just need to enjoy them. But the thing is, they're beautiful to make into a dessert. Now, I will say I have irregular slices on these. I don't like it all very thin. I like irregular sizes because then when you actually bake it, you have some texture still to it when it's done. I'm doing a heavy fruit crisp, meaning I like a lot of fruit with it. So we need some thickener. That's gonna be cornstarch. You can do flour, you can do cornstarch. Cornstarch can be a little clearer. It works really either way, flour or cornstarch. This time I'm using cornstarch. We're gonna use some sugar. We're gonna just do white granulated sugar and just enough to add some more sweetness, but it also helps bind it. It does add a little bit of thickening to it. Now, I'm also gonna add a little bit of citrus. I'm using orange in this. I think when you're doing something fresh and with peach, there's something special about orange, the orange juice specifically, that really brings out more peach flavor. And you're gonna say like, what do you mean? It's orange, not peach. You're right, but it actually brings out more of that peach flavor, which I think is amazing, which citrus in general does that. It brightens, it makes our taste buds in our mouth taste it better. It makes it brighter and be more flavorful. So that's why we do this. And I think orange just complements. Then to this, we're gonna add some vanilla. Again, it's a warm tone to kind of go against the citrus tones and the brightness of the peaches. Now we just stir. We just want to mix it together to make sure that sugar is going to somewhat get incorporated. We're going to start dissolving it. And this is going to just start coming together. And what's really important here is to make sure that cornstarch completely is engrossed, encased by all the liquid. Because when you do that, that means once it's baking, that cornstarch can actually thicken. It needs to first become a liquid like this. And see how quickly that is? And it draws a lot of moisture, but don't worry about that. That's why we have the cornstarch in there. So I'm just gonna put it right into my waiting baking dish with all the liquid. See how you need that fruit. It really isn't as much as you think, but it sounds like a lot when you're going to make it. Now all this I want in there. That's gonna have the cornstarch in it, has that orange juice in it, so you wanna make sure you get it all out of there. You don't wanna let it skimp or go to waste. So we're gonna put it right in there, and now we can just use that same bowl. You know, you hear of one bowl or one pot meals. This is a one bowl dessert. The best kind of one bowl item, if you ask me. So in here now we can start putting together our toppings. So it's gonna start with some old-fashioned oats. That's just the normal rolled oats. I'm putting them right in there, and I'm gonna add slivered almonds to them. I love the slivered almonds because they add a texture and they work really well with peaches. Now, if you don't like nuts, you can adjust the other things, but I think that texture is really needed. I'm gonna also add some flour. So this is just a traditional streusel topping. You need the flour as a binder. We're gonna have some brown sugar. It's obviously gonna help sweeten it, adds a little bit of those caramelly molasses almost notes. A little bit of cinnamon because, yeah, we love cinnamon. Why? It's a warming spice. We're gonna add some salt too, and then we just mix this together. We're mixing this just to make sure it evenly combines here, because what we're gonna do now is once this is mixed, which you can see it is, we're gonna now add pieces of butter and work it in to become a streusel. And I think it's easiest to work with some cold butter, and we're just gonna cut it in pieces, not perfect pieces, but it's just easier to work in if it's in pieces. So I'm gonna cut it a couple times lengthwise, and I'm just gonna cut it in, you know, those small 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch pieces, put them all in. And what I like to do is fluff it kind of first with the dry ingredients to get each of those little pieces coated. You know, it's a scientific thing. It isn't, but I think it's a little bit easier if you coat them all, and then you can start taking them and working them in. Now, this is the same way I would do a pie crust. I would put it in my flour mixture, and then I would pick up pieces, push the butter between my thumb and forefinger, see how I did that? And just keep doing that with the piece of butter until it works into a streusel. It's like a wet, sandy mixture. It just takes a minute or two here, and you can see what I'm getting is irregular pieces of butter in different sizes. Now, one way I always say you can check is you can make a fist with it. See how it makes a fist, but then it just crumbles apart? That's good. You have cloddy pieces of butter, and that's what you want, because it's really just gonna bake into this beautiful, streusel-y, buttery, let's be honest, sometimes it's all about the streusel on these things. But in this case, it is about the peaches because it's peach season and they are delicious. So we're gonna put this now right over the top, and I like a good amount of streusel, but the important part is to make sure you evenly distribute it. You know, just like kids need to count sometimes the chocolate chips in their cookie to make sure they're getting the same amount. Was that just in my family? They're getting the same amount as someone else. I look for the piece with the most streusel. So if you evenly distribute it, you can't do that. Or you could just eat the whole thing by yourself and not worry about it, because then you'll for sure get the most. So I'm putting this over, and now I'm going to put it right into my oven, and we're gonna bake it. Now the important part is to make sure it's bubbling throughout into the center. That makes sure that that cornstarch is activated all the way through. The crisp baked, and then I let it sit out of the oven for a while. So if it's really hot out of the oven, it's gonna be runny. That cornstarch needs to cool before it can actually thicken up. Now, it's still a little warm, so it might be, but I wanna eat it. Now, obviously this is best served, I think, with a good scoop of vanilla ice cream, like a good vanilla ice cream, but it's also good just by itself. Now, fair game, when we would make pie or crisp growing up, this is what turned into breakfast the next day and who knows what else. This is not only for a dessert, if you ask me, because it's fruit. You can have it anytime you want. And look how beautiful that is. It's just thick enough. If you look in here, do you see how it just begins to pool, but not too much? That's that cornstarch. It's not even fully cool yet, so it's perfect. But look at the slices of big peaches. That's why I like them somewhat irregular. They just look good. It's still warm. Okay, I can't eat the whole thing, but it is absolutely beautiful. I mean, if you wanted to sit here and just watch me in silence as I ate it, totally could do that. But what I love about it is, some people may think cinnamon doesn't need to be in everything. That hint of warm spice really just accentuates the peaches. You get the oatiness and those beautiful crumbles of the almond on top. It's the perfect marriage of a seasonal fruit with a streusel topping into the perfect crisp. And yes, you should see the bubbles from all around and how it was really bubbling in the oven. That's what you need to fully bake it. Just like a pie, it needs to be bubbling throughout. That's what happened here. So what do I hope you do? I hope you get some peaches, whether they're from the grocery store or whether you can pick them from a market. And I hope you make something delicious, especially this crisp. So share this video around so other people can see how easy it is. I live on a farm in Iowa. If I can do this and get these ingredients, anybody can do this, and it can be just as delicious and just as perfect, because it really is perfect. Also check out my website, wiseguy.com, for this recipe and all my other recipes. They live on my website, so you can use them time and time again, because this is a classic that my family has passed down, and I think you're gonna see why. So I hope you make some.